You had said something about that if you're a foreign person.
No, my point of view was this, that I don't think freedom of speech relates to foreigners coming into Canada and taking part within our debate. They have perfect freedom of speech in England, and I respect his right to do that in England. But to bring a provocateur into ours in the same way that over time Parliament had decided that foreigners are not to take part in a Canadian election, for example. And even I am limited to the extent that I can participate. I can give money to a party to a certain extent. I can take out membership. I can work for a party. But if in fact I thought, I've got an experience here, my neighbors might like it, and I want to sign something out, that cannot be put out without one of the participants in the election taking that material and putting it as part of their budget. And the reason for that is, and I disagree with it, but the reason for it is a rationale that a lot of people accept, is that they try to limit the debate, or that they try to make fair, if you will, elections by having all of the parties roughly being able to finance themselves through the same way. And so that's why I would be limited during the election. You're probably aware of that. But you couldn't yourself write out an item and put it out in your neighborhood without it being included in someone's political literature and being accounted for by dollars.
I'm not talking so much about that. No, like let's say that this guy Galloway, I'm all I understand about it is that there are people who say that he's fear-mongering and hate-mongering, and that's why he's being prevented from coming in the country. I don't really know. That's why I was here.
Well, why he was dealt with, at least from my perspective, and I totally agree with it, is that he has been identified very clearly in his public speech and his approach to terrorist groups. He has been kicked out of the Socialist Party in the Labour Party in England because of his approach. He is not the type of socialist that we would have, like Mr. Cormorant, for example, that from the Niagara Peninsula, that just raised the issue recently about Canadian labour and the flags that are being produced for the province. And I totally agree with him. That's a person that's within our debating parameters, will you? But this man is a provocateur. This man has a background that I find disgusting. And in the same way that a person would be a right-winger, who I feel have the same temperament as he does, I would expect them not to be allowed in here either. I wouldn't expect a Jewish provocateur to be allowed in this country to take part in a debate here. I would expect elected officials that have a purpose to come. I just feel that free speech is for Canadians within Canada. It means you and it means me, but it doesn't mean that we have to provide a platform for foreign provocateurs, and that's my point of view. Okay.
No, I'm glad I asked you, because what I only heard a little bit about there, and it sounded...
Well, I didn't know why you were...
Yeah, it sounded like something I really didn't like, but I realized I only caught a snippet of it.
Yeah, I basically feel that it's not... well, in the same way that Henny Penny didn't have a right to say the sky was falling down, when in fact people would be stampeded and hurt by that. In the same way that in legal terms you don't have a right to call fire in a crowded theater unless there is fire, and you have a responsibility to do so in a way that doesn't make people unsafe. And I feel that he has nothing to really add. He's not a great thinker. He's a very quick verbal type of guy, but he is... His politics is of the Communist Party that would be here, and they're a very marginal group. But in the same way that you might be a right-wing skinhead or some kind of extremist that has taken part in or encouraged violence and anything but peaceful demonstration, then I'm opposed to that. And I think our government needs to exercise that kind of discipline against foreign intrusion into Canada.
Okay, well, you know,
and I think the people that are bringing him in are doing so to stir it up. And I'm, as a Canadian, I'm saying I've had enough of this crap, and I just came to quietly say that to people.
Yeah, no, I don't know enough about the situation. Okay, that's why I'm kind of here.
We never know enough, but I have spent a lot of time studying it.
Okay,
yes.
Even enough for me to offer comment. I'm just kind of finding information. But the thing is, in some ways, and I just, you know, we're both of the same age, so that we know about the civil rights movement in the 50s.
You're a lot younger than I am, young lady.
Okay, but we are the same age. I remember that. And there were Canadians who came into the United States to support the civil rights movement. And there were plenty of people in the South who said Canadians don't have a right to be down here to express their point of view.
Well, a lot of Americans felt that, and personally, I don't agree in going into another country.
So you think that the Canadians who went down, they had no right? Really?
It's not a case of no right.
They shouldn't have gone down there.
I certainly went to the States at that time, and I got adversely involved, not because of anything I did, but rednecks chased me through the mountains for a long time, and I wasn't frightened, but I was frightened for my wife. We were very young.
What were you doing?
We were down on a March break holiday, and because of the turmoil that was going on, we were looked on as these Canadian agitators from the north. My license plate was different, and so I was chased through the mountains for about 50, 60 miles. And then we got to a small town, and we pulled into a hotel, and we stayed there and got out of the road. I wouldn't have taken part personally. I'm not going to make judgments for other people.
Yeah, but I see it as similar.
But the civil rights movement in the United States was distinctly different in that it was led by a person that believed in peaceful demonstration and fought isn't the right word. Used his character and his appeal to instill that. There was very little violence, and the violence was done to them, not by them. And because of that, I think they were successful in turning the United States around out of that ugly past that they had. Not only the Civil War that just destroyed a lot of young people, but the anarchy that occurred in the South after that made points of view so violent. And when the Yankees, the American army, moved out, of course, a lot of terrible things occurred after that that were even worse. But so,
do you understand that I see some similarities? Although I'm not suggesting the two, but just that sometimes going into another country to say, hey, that's not right, or think in terms of freedom that sometimes.
Well, I think that you have an obligation as a citizen to state what your point of view is if you're attacked or you're consulted. For example, if I was in the States and someone did something to someone right beside me, I would find it very difficult not to assist to the extent that it was wise to do. Now, you might question my wisdom because I stepped out here, but I'm a very strong intellectually and physically that I didn't think I would be in any danger here today. And so I took that risk, but it was a calculated risk. But I think that people shouldn't go in to be a provocateur in another society. I'm a Canadian. I have a right to participate in Canadian affairs and to state my point of view and to interact with others and maybe change my point of view. I don't think it's appropriate for me to go into any other country and tell them how to operate other than if it's a personal conversation. But to do so publicly, in other words, stand on a public platform, I don't think that's appropriate. No, I just don't think so. Now, it's up to those societies to determine it, but let me put it this way.